All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Ebony, a.k.a. Fit Mom Diva of Simplicity Health Style. And today we have a special guest from the UK. Her name is Liz. Liz, thank you so much for taking time and speaking with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Ebony. It's such an honour to be part of all the amazing work you're doing to inspire women to live their best life. It's totally what I'm on board with. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. If you guys stick around to the end, you will have an opportunity to earn a complimentary gift because Liz is taking some precious time out of her day to share some jewels with you. And I want you to listen to what she wants to share. Liz, can you just start us off just so that they can get to know a little bit more about what encourages you by sharing a motivational quote that really inspires you and gets you going?
So the quote that I think about the most, it's a really, really, really old quote. It's actually 116 years old. It's from 1902. And the quote is, we think in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. And it's from James Allen. He's British as well, and he's a writer. And one of the things I love about it is that it's so old, but it's still so relevant today. And in just that one sentence, it really signifies the huge power that we have to create our reality just through our thoughts and the things that we think about all day. So that's definitely my favorite quote.
Yes, and I am such a strong proponent of what we think a lot of times is exactly how it's going to occur in our life. We think we're a failure, well, you probably will be a failure. If you think that you are a success, then you probably will be a success. And of course, you know, some of these things are not necessarily going to happen overnight. You're not going to necessarily think of yourself as a millionaire and then tomorrow you're a millionaire. It's a process to go along with it. But I think the repetitive thoughts of positivity, that really creates your reality. So I strongly encourage people to take that quote to heart. Repeat it one more time so that they can hear it again.
Yeah, we think in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass.
Yes, and repeat the author again.
It's James Allen, and in the book is called As a Man Thinketh. So yeah, typical like oldie name for 1902.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about a time when you perhaps had positive thoughts and there were external circumstances that came into play, because we all know that not everything is going to work according to plan at all times. So you have to mix your positive thoughts and positive energy with the faith that things will happen and take the action steps to make sure that it's more likely to happen. So talk a little bit about a time when you didn't necessarily see the light at the end of the tunnel and had to even overcome some obstacles, maybe some unforeseen obstacles. But at the end of the day, you were able to bring that goal or that dream to fruition.
It's funny that you said maybe you had positive thoughts, because actually the story that I want to talk about is what I consider my old life, so pre-spiritual awakening, if you will, and I think of myself as a totally different person then. So I wrote a line in my book today, and I thought it was really relevant, and it's that the future we have waiting for us is usually so much greater than the one that we're waiting for. And the reason I thought it was so applicable, because at the time I'd just come out of university and I went straight into a graduate scheme at JP Morgan, and I'd beaten like 2,000 applicants to the place. It's like the best investment bank, yada, yada, yada on paper. And I got there and I'd been working towards it for years, and it was a good salary and all of that, but it's the classic tale of everything that's great on the outside and it feels anything but on the inside. And I was there for 2 years, and by the end of it, I felt so physically ill. I couldn't sleep. I had really bad anxiety, horrendous headaches every day, blinding headaches. And it was all just the start of my awakening process, because I ended up on a very long health journey. I went through all the Western medicine routes, antidepressants, ECGs, blood tests, everything, you name it. And after doing that for about a year, they couldn't find anything wrong that explained it. So then once I'd exhausted that, I turned to alternative therapies, acupuncture, crystals, Reiki, everything like that. And it was only when I got further into that, and I actually read something about the chakras. And then when I was reading about the third eye chakra, all of the symptoms that I had, nightmares, headaches, it lined up perfectly with a blockage in my third eye chakra. So then I worked on clearing that through energy clearing, and then a whole other world just opened up and just completely shattered my old world. And it got rid of all the health problems, because actually it was just, the health problems were just a symptom of not being aligned with my true purpose and not being awake to my spiritual body and my spiritual life. And then on my journey through that, I realized that actually I'm an intuitive empath. When I awakened, I started having psychic flashes, and all of these amazing things started happening. And actually in my old life, I could only see the physical sensations of the illness and not being aligned, and I had no idea the deeper causes.
Right.
So yeah, so the light at the end of the tunnel, it just wasn't even, I would never have expected what it was. But
yeah.
Now I'm so thankful, because I'm so much more fulfilled, and I know what my purpose is now, and I know that's something that you work a lot on, living in line with your purpose.
Yes, and I totally agree with you not really understanding when you're out of alignment, and you're more likely to have these health issues, and you're not really sure what is going on. Like, why do I have a headache every day?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like my energy is on a scale of 1 to 10, a 2?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like my body barely wants to move? And a lot of it has to do with what we put in our body, for one. But another thing is, maybe we're not doing anything related to what our true purpose is and what we're truly aligned with. And I think that for a lot of people, they may go through the motions. You might have people in, for example, the spiritual or quote unquote religious community that they attend church every day of the week, and they have the pastor praying for them, or they read these books or that book, and they're going through the motions of spirituality, but it's not hitting home because they are still truly out of alignment with what they're on this earth to do. So I think that it's so important for people to really do some self-awareness exercises to really get to know who they are, as opposed to just going through these doctrines and discipline that you're taught that you should do, and you're still not getting anywhere in life. Because what good is it if you're still not walking in your core life purpose? You understand? I think that everything that we go through is a learning experience, so I can't really say that going about life that way is a waste of time. It isn't a waste of time, because eventually you're going to learn from that experience. When you're still stuck in your pain, and you're not getting very far. You know, so it's still a part of your identity and your life purpose in the big picture. But I think that it could be a smoother process for some people.
Yeah.
And I believe that so many people, they take different routes at going about doing it. I don't think that there's necessarily, you have to do this in order to bring yourself into alignment. You know, I think that you can determine that for yourself just by listening to what your soul craves, essentially.
It's so funny that you say that about going through the motions, because I had a Christian upbringing. I would sing in the church choir and do flute duets, and I totally had that Christian life for years and years and years, and it did not help me one bit, because, as you said, I guess maybe part was just being a child, but I didn't truly connect with it, so it didn't help me at all when it came to actually awakening and connecting with it.
Yes, and that's important what you just said, connecting with it. You just going through the motions. What is that doing?
Yeah.
Honestly, you can be the pastor of church going through motions. What is it really doing? You're just, putting on a show. So I think that making the connection and really, really aligning to who you are as an individual is what's the most key. And you living a truly fulfilling life and being able to serve people at your best self. You understand? So it doesn't serve anybody for you to go through the motions, and the people and the things around you are suffering, but you're going through the motions. You're fruit, right? So I
Totally.
I totally agree with that. What that one keyword, connection. Talk
Mm-hmm.
a little bit about the support system that people can gain as a result of stepping outside of their comfort zone. Because for a lot of people, they feel like, I know what my dream is, I know what my purpose is, but I don't feel like the people around me are really supporting me in the way that I need that support. And
Mm-hmm.
for some of them, it derails them because they're like, I don't know, I don't even know how to get started. What kind of encouragement or resources
Mm-hmm.
could you provide to somebody that falls into that category?
So the number one thing is definitely no one's ever going to love you as much as you love yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're seeking approval instead of support, I think they're two very different things. So definitely watch out for that. And then another thing as well is that other people view things through the lens of their own experience. So there's a quote by a YouTuber, Casey Neistat. He's like a huge, huge YouTuber. And he said, it's the people that have surrendered their dreams that will discourage you from following your own. So sometimes when people don't agree with you, it's not because they necessarily don't agree with your idea or what you're doing. It's just that they can't see past their own regret or their own remorse for not doing whatever it is that they wanted to do as well. So don't always take people not supporting you or buying into what you're doing as disagreement, but maybe there's something deeper going on that they may not even be aware of. So watch out for that as well. And then the third thing, once you truly get into spirituality, you start to realize that you're never alone and you have so much support in terms of God, if you're religious, or universal energy. And then you realize that you've got angels and dead relatives and like a whole heap of other things. So I think once you just finding yourself spiritually, you lose the need for other people's approval and support, and you realize that there's so much more at work supporting you, that you just need belief in yourself and need to kind of tune into bigger picture.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I think that the more that you can look within and really understand who you are and love and appreciate yourself for who you are, that is going to carry you so much further than always having to look externally for validation or for, like you said, approval. Because for a lot of people, most people walking down the street actually don't really understand who they are and what their true purpose is. They get into this pattern of waking up and performing their daily task on autopilot, the same habits they've done for the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And yeah, they might be producing some good results in their life, but they're not necessarily fulfilled.
Yeah.
So how are they going to necessarily support you at the best support that you need when they haven't even figured out themselves yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bills might be getting paid. They might be eating food every day. They might have a nice looking family. They might go on trips. They might have all these things, these external things that we define as success. But do they really know who they are? And are they really serving people the way that they're supposed to be serving people? And I think that all that we do is of help to mankind. But at the end of the day, is it fulfilling for you? That's the key difference. You can serve someone by mopping their floor, but is that fulfilling for you? Maybe, maybe not. Only you know the answer to that.
Yeah.
So I think that understanding who you are as an individual and also understanding what your passion is can also help you in being consistent with carrying it out, because your passion isn't going anywhere, right?
Yeah, you're so right. Serving is such a two-way street, because your purpose, it not only serves other people, but it will fill you up as well, and it makes you feel good to be able to deliver the service to other people, and it feels good for them too. Whereas, like you said, if you're just doing, like, I could be a doctor and I could be helping other people, but I don't think I'm meant to be a doctor because I'm terrible at science for a start, but that wouldn't be helping me because it's not my purpose. And if you're not helping yourself, then you're not helping anyone. So Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and one of the things that people will often ask is, how can you be so okay and like not appear to have so much stress when you have all of this other stuff that you could be stressed out about? And not just me, but just people in general that appear to have a bubbly or a cheerful personality. And it's not that the things aren't going on. We're living in the same exact world. But I think that when you wake up every day and you're able to serve in your purpose, keywords, serve in your purpose, you're filled with a different type of joy. And until you experience that, you really don't have much to compare it to. If all you have to compare it to is the way that the normal people are living, going to their 9-to-5 job or whatever and doing the things you're expected to do according to society, well, you don't have anything to compare it to. So it looks odd because most people are not necessarily living that way. They're living according to societal norms, which is just look, good on the surface. Who cares how you really feeling? Nobody really cares how you really feeling. Just as long as you look good on the surface,
Yeah, you're so right. And I wrote on my Instagram the other day, it's millennial.manifesto, and I wrote, life is an aphrodisiac if you're fully aligned, because even not even from a spiritual standpoint, but just in your brain, it just lights up when you're doing something that you love and that you feel inspired by. So it really does make all the difference living a life of purpose and feeling aligned. And you get so much energy. I don't know where it comes from, but you just find all these reserves, and it can be the last thing at night, but once you start doing it, you're suddenly wide awake, and yeah, you just can't get enough of it.
I totally agree. And it's almost like, like you're on drugs. Like where is happiness coming from? And it's because you're aligned. You're aligned to according what you're supposed to be doing in life. And until you've discovered that, it's going to seem odd.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your most challenging moments and how that can bring you out of alignment, because we all know that it's not all sunshine and daisies. So when you're experiencing a challenging day or maybe a challenging few days, what are some techniques that people could use to recenter themselves and get them back into alignment?
So one of the things I always rely on is exercise. So for many, many years, I never exercised. I thought I was someone that didn't exercise. I was terrible at sports at school. I hated it. So I just thought it wasn't for me. And then I actually got into it through yoga at work. They did yoga classes after work, and I finally found something I was good at, because it wasn't a cardio type of sport. It wasn't a team sport. And had a spiritual element to it. So I absolutely loved it. And through that, I got into yoga and Pilates, and that just completely changed my life. And one of my friends, actually, she had a horrendous few years with depression, and she was suicidal and self-harming. And she said the thing that saved her was exercise, because of all the chemicals it releases. You feel strong, you feel fit, you feel like you're capable of anything. So whenever I'm having a bad day, I force myself to go out for a run, because then you've got the double dose of nature, and then all the serotonin, the endorphins, and everything else that's released in your brain after exercise. So I find that always helps, especially when I'm at home and I go for a run along the beach, and it just has the power to clear any negative thoughts away.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes the hardest part is just to get started.
Yes.
It takes a lot of mental energy for you to say, I'm going to put on my gym clothes and then I'm going to drive to the gym, or I'm even going to go to the basketball court in my neighborhood and, just play basketball. Whatever it is for you, sometimes it takes some mental energy to get up out of the sitting position that you're in and actually do it. But then once you do it, you're like, man, the 20 minutes that I spent thinking about it, I could have had my exercising done, and I could now be on to something else, and I feel great now that I've done it. It's the hardest part, just getting up and doing it. So I often tell people, sometimes just count to 5 and then just get up. I have to do that with myself sometimes too. I enjoy physical activity, and I even sometimes struggle with that. I will easily let a week go by and I didn't exercise, but if I let too much time go by without moving my body, I just feel totally different. So I think that when you have something to compare it to, when you know how you feel when you're consistently active versus when you decide you want to take a week off, 2 weeks off, a month off, it's like a total world difference.
I know.
I just feel like crap. And I often say that you don't really understand what good is doing for your body until you do it consistently. Because sometimes people will say, oh, you know, I exercised today because Ebonie said that I should feel this endorphins rush. And actually I feel tired as hell. I want to go take a nap. But it's when you do it consistently that you start to see results. So that's the main thing. Stick with something that's going to work for you for the longer term as opposed to a short-term fix.
You're so right. And I just went away for a month. I was really lucky. I went on 3 holidays consecutively to Ibiza, Berlin, and then Thailand, which was amazing. But by the end, I was like, all I want to do is go back and have a smoothie and do some exercise. Because exactly like you said, you are so in a routine and you can get away with it for a week. And then after that, you start to feel really lethargic. You lose all the muscle that you've built up. You don't feel strong anymore. You don't feel in control of your body. You become a victim to it as opposed to being strong and fit. So yeah, definitely getting into it. But that first run is pretty hideous. But once you get into it and you realize that I can do this and I'm getting better at it, seeing that progression that you're actually improving is quite addictive. So yeah, definitely stick to it.
And I can imagine that you said earlier that you're an intuitive empath. I can imagine as an empath that you absorbing so much other energy, and a lot of times it's negative energy around you, it probably impacts your mood even that much more.
So much.
For other empaths or people that are just very sensitive to other people's energy, I think it's even more important to treat yourself with quality self-care and to exercise and to eat quality food, because you're more prone to suffer from challenges like anxiety and depression, but just the nature of absorbing other people's energy.
So right. And I really struggle as well with going away, because now, exactly like you said, I realize how sensitive my body is to everything, emotions, everything that I put into it, just everything. So I really take so much care now. I have a smoothie every morning for breakfast, and then I have soup for lunch. And I try and avoid dairy and gluten, and I've had to really refine my diet just to feel normal, because everything makes me feel ill. And that's something I struggle as well, being out and about. And I always say to my fiance, oh, I've got to eat human food, which means like bread and cheese and things like that, because
human food
to digest it. Because yeah, I'm a vegetarian, but I'm not a full vegan yet. I do hope to be soon. But yeah, it's so difficult managing your diet, but the benefits are just huge to your well-being.
Yeah, and I think that there's a significant crossover between how you treat your body and your vitality and energy that you have to be able to carry out your purpose, as we talked about earlier. Because we all know that when we're sick and we're not feeling well, whether that comes as a result of additional stress that we don't need in our lives, or the types of foods that we're eating, or the type of energy that's going on around us, whatever the source or the cause of it, we feel like crap and we don't want to serve at our best. So treating ourselves with the respect that our bodies deserve, that's going to propel you from way down here to way up here if you're staying consistent with treating yourself with great care.
Totally.
For anyone that is listening, if you are totally clueless on 2 things. 1, how to identify your core life purpose, because I know we talked about that several times. And anyone that's struggling in the area of staying more consistent with exercise, I have all of my contact info in the description box. I encourage you to join my Nutrition for Busy Women Facebook group. It's nutrition, the number 4, Busy Women Facebook group. And it's not just nutrition from a physical body standpoint. It's nutrition for your mind, body, and soul. And you're in a community of positive, like-minded women, because as Liz talks about, support is key, but we also have to learn how to become self-aware. And I do a lot of talking on self-love and self-awareness and how to actually do that. That's not something that we're taught in school. And I'm sure you're not taught that in schools overseas. And if you are,
No.
it's probably something brand new that they're doing. Most of what we're taught in school is not centered around how to live a life in alignment with your purpose. And most of it is not taught on how to love yourself. So if you're struggling in that area, there's nothing wrong with you. You're completely normal. If you want support in that area, I have free resources that I can provide to you, as well as assessment that you can take to understand your gifts and your personality better. That's going to help you in making every decision in your life. Liz, do you have any last words of encouragement, or do you want to talk a little bit about people that you would like to collaborate with? Because there's people from all over that are listening, and some of them may want to very well collaborate with you on a specific project or idea that they may have.
So I really just wanted to reiterate the first point. So when I said the quote from James Allen, we think of secret when it comes to past environments, but our looking glass. And the thing that my mission is just to make everyone realize the power that they have to create their reality and to create the life of their dreams, and in doing so inspire others to create the life of their dreams too. So this is a lot of the work that I'm doing on my Instagram. It's millennial.manifester. I'm writing a book at the moment, which isn't quite done, but I'm spending all of this weekend at a publishing house in England. So fingers crossed, book coming out soon.
Yay.
But I just really, really, really want everyone to know how powerful they are, and that no one is a victim to their circumstance, but in one way or another, you have created your circumstances and you can get out of it in the same way, and you can achieve anything that you want to achieve with your beliefs and your actions and what you think about all day. So yeah, you have all the power, and all the power of the universe behind you too.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And if you don't believe that, well, don't complain when you're still saying, oh my gosh, my world is so upside down. Try it. Try to look at things a different way. And you're going to begin to see that things are going to come into your life that are helping you along your journey, and not only helping you in a superficial manner, but helping you in a fulfilling manner, because you're becoming more aligned with what you're supposed to be doing, walking on this earth every single day out of your life. So I thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I know that for some people listening, it's a little easier said than done in the beginning. I understand that. It takes a lot of self-development and really staying committed to being around people that are positive, like mind. So as I said earlier, if you want support in that area, I'm all here for you. You can connect with Liz, and I'm sure you're going to gain daily inspiration from her. But just learn how to connect with the right people that's going to help you along your path. And all of our contact info is in the description box. If you guys want to share anything about your life that you feel that can also benefit and impact other people, please feel free to reach out to me, because I feel like we need a community of people that are open to talking about what their experiences are, so that other people can see that, oh, okay, well, life is not as bad as I thought. I'm a normal person just like she is, and she was able to achieve this, and I can too. So thank you so much, Liz. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And all of you listening, don't forget to live a life full of meaning and purpose. And I look forward to connecting with you in our next episode. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.